Good afternoon again. As I said on the last video, a few minutes ago I finished it, I've got another one. I didn't want to combine them because they're two separate subjects. This is www.britishconstitutiongroup.com and the heading is Undoing the Mind Spell, Natural Law, the Constitution and the Sovereign People Rule. I'm only going to read what I typed up this afternoon from a more leaflet that I picked up in Trafalgar Square last week. I was given it. Did you know that the real true law, natural divine common law, belongs to you and us all? That is, we the people. When we are aligned with natural divine principles. If the people in the government are committing crimes and not serving we the people as required by our common law constitutional oaths of office, then they have no lawful authority whatsoever. Did you know that the so-called law that the so-called governments and parliament make isn't actually law at all? These are known as commercial, maritime, statute, legislations, guideline rules, regulations, acts and directives. What is more, our MPs, ministers and political parties are not actually representing we the people, but they are representing bankers, corporations and think tanks instead. A true law should be there to protect us all from harm and must be in line with common law principles. Something that is called a law that would actually cause us harm if we were to stand under and follow it cannot be a law at all. Therefore, it would be null and void. Did you know that all living beings on this planet have an unalienable, God-given rights and freedoms, including First Nation Indigenous people, nomadic people, and minority groups? The problem is that most people do not realize, know, and use this fact and truth in law. I'll cut in here. Fortunately I did, and I knew that before I was given this leaflet, because I was prepared for anything last weekend in Trafalgar Square, but I knew about this. Not all of everything I'm going to read to I knew, but that the main part, the beginning, I knew all that. I was ready with my answers. Possibly all the nations of this world are ultimately run by a cabal of bankers, corporations, think tank, lobbyists and secret societies with global agendas. Our life grants us all free will. However, it appears that our Creator does not want us to go around causing harm. If we do, according to natural law, we will accrue karma. However, With karma, we can hopefully and eventually learn the errors of our ways. With our natural and common law constitution, there are moral principles or guidelines. These can be expressed as follows. We are all free to live our lives freely, whilst behaving responsibly, peacefully, honestly, and honourably, by causing no intentional harm, and treating others respectfully in the way we would like to be treated ourselves. No one should be above the rule of natural, divine common law, and all should be treated fairly and equally under it. Unalienable God-given rights versus corporate state privileges, human rights. Other well-known and important principles of our lawful, unalienable rights and freedoms are as follows. No one should be detained, fined, or penalized unless they have a lawful conviction by a proper common law jury. Notice common law jury. We'll get to that at the end of this. There should be no cruel, unusual, or unnatural punishments. The right to life, old or young, I'd add here, and unborn, and to be aware of and respect the rights of all others. The right to free thinking, which is us lot on YouTube and brand YouTube, who are taken down from some sites. Freedom of expression and to make our own decisions. The right to free movement, association and assembly without bias, discrimination, which 50,000 people all experienced last week in Trafalgar Square, outside the Tate Gallery. Yes, they wanted to disperse us and they did manage it. Then they went to Hyde Park and the same thing blew up there. Bias, discrimination. The rights to hold our public servants, that's your MPs, to account. The right to be trusted, respected, and be recognised as innocent unless proven guilty. The right to go about and maintain our lawful business unhindered. The right to free and swift justice and to make private prosecutions. Well, the swift justice is way behind time, isn't it? It's never swift anymore. It hasn't been for years. And private prosecutions, most people wouldn't know how to do them. I've done them once and won. Wrong story. The right to remain silent so that we're not forced to be a witness against ourselves, and the right to appeal. Big one coming up. The right to privacy. The right to peace and rest. The right to freedom and transparency of information that does not disrespect the lawful privacy of others. The right to self-defense and that of others. The right to lawful protection and representation. A bit thin on the ground at the moment, I think. The right to abundance, a pure, natural, healthy environment and to enjoy our lives freely. I'm going to cut in here. I wonder if that means 5G because it's dangerous for our health. Can we insist they take all those poles down? The rights to clean, healthy, safe and adequate sustenance, clothing, medicine and, most importantly, shelter for the homeless people. They have rights under natural law. The consensual rights to marry and have a family. That means they shouldn't be forcing young girls under age to get married anywhere in the world, should they? Well, I have put the page in the wrong way, so I like the next one. I think you'll like this too. There should be no taxation without proper representation. Well, all those wealthy people seem to get out of paying taxes by having very good accountants and storing their wealth abroad. So I'm sure all the good people of this country pay their taxes when due. They haven't got much option. And the next one is an old-fashioned word. Usury and other unethical business is actually unlawful. Well, those high up, most of them are unethical now, and therefore they're unlawful. The common law way of bringing people to justice, if they have caused us a serious harm, is through trial by jury. A properly convened common law jury also has democratic administrative powers in our nation and our local communities. The jury has the lawful duty and authority to annul any statute that is not in line with natural divine common law principles. So all these restrictions and things that they're putting on people now, they could be challenged in the courts under this common law. All the things that we hate that are going on and been thrown at us under these false statutes by Boris and his cohorts and who aren't even MPs. We should be going to the courts, those that can. I wouldn't mind taking them on. I've never lost a court case yet in England or Jamaica. I'll take them on, I think, if they keep this nonsense up. Statute breaches are not necessarily crimes. I'll repeat that. Statute breaches, which we're under statute at the moment, are not necessarily crimes. It is a crime for anybody, including police constables like those in Trafalgar Square and Hyde Park Corner, or Speaker's Corner, to detain, question and arrest anyone if there is not enough grounds of suspicion and evidence that a real crime has been committed. Anyone doing so can be made personally liable and prosecuted. So all those illegal arrests last week of ordinary citizens gathering in Trafalgar Square and later in Hyde Park, they were arrested, including that German doctor who was not allowed to speak. He didn't break any law in our country, none whatsoever. He was arrested, but it should not have happened under common law. And you can look it all up yourself, www.commonlawcourt.com, www.britishconstitutiongroup.com. I recommend you get this and read it up yourself, because there must be a lot more out there to read. But this is fascinating, and There were people arrested in front of my own eyes, and they're all on the internet, which we look at. They were arrested, and all over the world. But it's against common law, which we have more powers than we realise we have. We better start using them before it's too late. Look this up. I can send anyone an email with this information if you want it, but you can find it yourself. Just look it up, read it up, print it off, share it. Alright, thank you very much for listening. I've got something else more interesting later to do, but I have to type it first.